In the 21st century, TV talent shows provide entertainment for millions of viewers in Britain and billions across the globe. For over half a century, we've tuned in to see stars being born before our eyes. Now, for the first time, this series will tell the full story of how talent shows came to dominate our Saturday nights.
Thank you. Good evening and welcome. Your Saturday night starts right here.
You get to discover new talent. You get to be a part of that journey.
For that brief moment, the whole country is united in saying, wow.
We'll relive the performances that gripped the nation.
In that moment, you just go, what have we found here? A star was born.
And we'll hear from the stars who were there to see it all happen.
It's goosebumps, it's hairs on the back of the neck.
It's just mind-blowing. And that's the moment you live for.
This is the talent show story. Tonight on the Talent Show Story, Britain's Got Talent is now one of the nation's most popular shows, but we'll hear how it nearly didn't make it to our screens.
We made a pilot. ITV didn't want it, nobody wanted it.
Variety was totally forgotten, and more than just being forgotten, it was a dirty word.
We tell the story of how Simon Cowell went from music mogul to a global TV star.
Amanda, that was absolutely horrible. Just awful.
Simon's ego, it's sort of stratospheric. Doesn't really belong on this planet.
And we celebrate the very best of the very bad.
We've never heard that kind of language before.
But we start with the series that launched some of Britain's greatest entertainers and set the benchmark for all talent shows that followed. The programme that gave us television's first judging panel. Over the past decade, the all-powerful judges have become a central part of our talent show experience. There's the put-downs.
It was like torture.
The one-liners.
You've just entered the audition from hell.
And the rows.
It said Rock Week, not Rock Song Week.
In some ways, the judges have become the stars of the show, but that wasn't always the case. In the early days of the talent show, series like Opportunity Knocks were purely about celebrating new talent. Criticising the acts was strictly off limits.
My good friend Fred Perry playing on the broom, an instrument that no orchestra should long be without. Fine.
But all that would change in 1973 when ITV looked for a new show to fill its key Saturday night slot.
The BBC were killing ITV on the Saturday because the Generation Game was the huge show.
Nice to see you,
And they had to find something to dent those ratings.
A cuddly donkey.
New Faces had been a hit show in Australia where it was very much an amateur show where people could walk off the street and perform.
Welcome to New Faces, where each week the experts and you, the public, have the say of who should be the future stars of television. And here's your host for tonight, Derek Hobson.
Thank you very much indeed.
New Faces was the new kid on the block. Hipper and more streetwise than Op Knocks, it proved an instant hit with the viewers, not least because of the stars on the panel.
Mr. Michael Aspel. Tony Blackburn. Lionel Blair.
I think when they introduced the judging panel, it was a massive moment in television history. I think that was the start of celebrity judges.
Who's your friend?
Clifford.
No.
How are you, Huey? All right?
The public hadn't seen a judging panel before, and they weren't used of people giving criticism to the acts to their faces.
In these days of television, one is inclined to get a bit tired of impressionists. It seems the easy way.
It was very scary to go out in front of that panel.
It does seem a bit amateurish.
It was like waiting to go and get shot or something, to be executed.
She needs to learn diction. I couldn't understand half what she was singing about.
I've always based everything I've done on the honesty of New Faces. People say they were cruel and tough. Well, no, they were just honest.
Thanks to that honesty, two particular judges were soon making a name for themselves.
I suppose you could call them the Batman and Robin of television. Mr. Tony Hatch and Mr. Mickey Most.
Two of the coolest men in the music industry, Most and Hatch were very different from the TV personalities viewers had been used to on Saturday nights.
People were frightened to go on that show because I think they were, really tough.
There's too many family acts and it's not novel anymore.
They're not actually a great group. They lack a lot in musicianship.
I loved Tony Hatch. I loved Mickey Most. But I remember thinking those two are hilarious.
Would you want to say? I'm sorry, I'm going to interrupt you. No, gentlemen, I must.
Mickey Most, still one of the greats from the music industry. I really looked up to Mickey and he inspired me.
Mickey Most was my musical hero. He was the king producer. He was amazing. And I used to watch for Mickey Most and his big curly hair.
Like Mickey Most, songwriter and producer Tony Hatch had been responsible for some of the biggest hits of the 60s and 70s.
When you're alone and life is making you lonely, you can always go.
Tony Hatch, who wrote Downtown.
When you've got
he was the Simon Cowell of his day.
Either you laugh or you don't laugh, and I just didn't find him very funny.
Tony Hatchet Hatch, they called him. And he would sit stone-faced.
I don't think that he has got star quality.
When I started out on New Faces, I never set out to be controversial. I was just being honest.
I absolutely hated the song. There are better songs they can do than that one.
So that's how I got the nickname The Hatchet Man. Sometimes I had to be smuggled out the back door after the programme, and some of the newspapers got stuck into me as well.
Just like the talent show judges of today, the New Faces panel were the constant subject of tabloid headlines, and Tony Hatch was worried that the negative publicity could be damaging for the show.
I do remember an occasion when the Sunday Mirror ran a centre spread. On the Monday morning, I decided to go and see Lou Grade. His company owned ATV, and I said, look, you've obviously seen this, and I apologise. He said, why? He said, that is the most wonderful publicity for the show. Don't even think about leaving the show. You have to stay exactly as you are. I'm proud of you. Thank you so much. Goodbye.
I knew it'd all be down to me in the end.
As well as making stars of its judges, New Faces also launched the careers of some of Britain's most popular acts.
New Faces in the 70s really supplied British show business with all of its stars for many years.
It discovered people like Showaddy Waddy, Jim Davidson,
Roger De Courcian, Nookie Bear, Marty Kane.
Thank you very much.
Sweet Sensation.
Sweet dreamer, it's just one of those things you put down to experience.
But Sweet Sensation and Showaddy Waddy would be rare musical successes for New Faces. The show's greatest legacy was left to comedy.
You dirty rat!
I was working with an act the other night and he was so bad the audience was still booing him while I was on.
Comedy almost ruled. It was the best shop window for comics who hadn't had any opportunity to be on television, maybe because of their background or their material content or not being seen, to go out there and have that shop window. And they grabbed it.
Shouldn't talk about my father in here. He's up there nice, so he is. He's getting the lead off the roof.
The most important moment of my life outside of having children or getting married was that night I won. And not only did I win, I won it by the highest number of points ever.
Oh, we're me so bitty!
I got 10, 10, 10. And then they went to Tony, and Tony went,
9. 39, all right.
And I remember Arthur Askew going, Tony is a spoil sport.
39 marks for presentation.
So to get a good reaction from them was worth its weight in gold.
Well, look, I'm going to make a cup of tea. You can watch this next bit because I'm going to have to look away.
There's a tin in the office cupboard labelled Lorraine.
because I've gone and got engaged again.
Victoria Wood, she was this girl who played the piano and sang songs that she'd written herself.
I always remember a verse which was, "The worst thing about this is, Richard,
He's very nice but thick.
slaps people on the back, says, call me Dick." It was those witty songs that she sings. She started then.
She was a triple threat. She played the piano, she sang, she wrote funny songs, quadruple, quintuple threat. And she was a comic. She was a great comic.
Isn't this girl got a great deal of magic, a great deal of charm? I think she's so cute looking on the screen. I would think, is a female Jake Thackeray.
I remember Victoria's face when they said, "You're like a female Jake Thackeray." She wasn't very happy with that. You know, she was a one-off.
In Victoria Wood, we were very, very lucky. We'd found an absolute gem.
Anyway, that's not a wig, can I just make that clear? But the same year that I did New Faces, there was somebody else brilliant. Lenny Henry was still at school when he was invited to audition.
I was 16. It was extraordinary. I'd been sort of discovered in a disco in Dudley, and this guy wrote away to opportunity knock to New Faces, and New Faces were the only ones that wrote back. So I went down there, and I bunked off school. I put together an act from jokes that I knew, from jokes people had told me, probably from jokes that I'd nicked off the telly.
He's a really new, exciting face to television, just 16 years old. Enough from me. Let him express himself in 3 minutes as we bring on Mr. Lenny Henry.
Lenny started his spot, I always remember, turned away from the audience with the Mac on.
You saw the Queen on Christmas Day, then, my darling. That's my baby Jessica, that is.
And then he turned round and we had a black Frank Spencer. It took the audience at home and in the studio by absolute surprise. And I think the producers intended that to happen.
There's a lot of people out there.
But a lot of laughs. Some because I'm black and I'm doing voices, but others because it was funny.
If you're wondering about the slightly permanent suntan, it all started when Betty got me a job as a salesman for Amber Solea. It's not funny, I only put a teaspoonful and I can't get it off now.
I did some jokes against myself, you know, some ill-advised, some pretty pertinent. I don't apologise for them because it was the time, so my thing was direct it against myself before anybody else does.
Okay, man, let's move. We gotta get this on the road, boys.
This footage of Lenny's first ever TV appearance was only rediscovered a few years ago. It was one of many New Faces episodes believed to have been lost in the 70s, and this is the first time it's been shown on ITV since its original broadcast.
You couldn't find my first appearance on New Faces, that was it, and I've searched for years and years and years, because I've never seen it.
The missing footage had in fact been kept by another comedy legend.
Bob Monkhouse very sadly passed away, and they found all these videotapes in his cellar, because Bob was an obsessive collector of comedians and their material, and he had it all card-indexed and alphabetised. Thankfully, he had Lenny Henry's first New Faces appearance.
Went into a chemist the other day, and I said, "Pardon me, ma'am, may I have some talcum powder?" She said, "Just walk this way." I said, "If I walked that way, I wouldn't need the talcum powder."
And it was just lovely. It was lovely to see this kid sort of doing okay, you know, and I was so chuffed. I was so chuffed for him. It was amazing to watch. I think I owe everything to New Faces. I don't think I'd be anywhere near where I am without it. So it was extraordinarily important to me, that programme.
Thank you, good night.
New Faces came to an end in 1978. Although it would be revived in the 80s, this was the end of a golden era for a show that had changed the face of television.
Hello, Betty. I'm on the telly.
Look at the talent that came out of it. I think that we found some extraordinary stuff. Really, you know, really extraordinary stuff.
I think we were ahead of our time. It's a tremendous format has been proved by the success of Britain's Got Talent and The X Factor. All those programmes really have been based on that original New Faces format. I feel very proud of that.
It's goodbye for now, but who knows? I'm sure very, very soon there'll be another talent show on British television. From all of us to all of you, goodbye.
Next, we tell the story of the talent show that 3 decades on from New Faces brought variety back to Saturday night TV.